Welcome back. This part of the lessons, we are going to cover physiologies and developments of children in order to give the children's um, beneficial yoga class. You should also understand them and how they are changing according to their age group. So first, let's overview of what are um, the things that we should be considered when we work with children. Because when you are working with children and adolescents, it is wonderful. It's so fun to work with them. And it's also challenging for many teachers, especially teachers who might not have their siblings or who may not become a mother yet. So we have to realize that we are not working with the smaller version of adults, even though we seem to have every part of the bodies as same as the adult parts. However, we should consider overall pictures of what are the differences between children and adults as well. So children are going through a series of changes neurologically, skeletally, muscularly, hormonally, and emotionally. And therefore, teaching young people who are in the process of undergoing these changes is truly different from teaching adults, and it's fun but challenging at the same time. So in these manuals, we are going to consider following the common differences of physiologies and learning developments of children. We are going to talk about developmental stage, bone and growth plate development, and thermoregulations of children's breathing, posture, flexibilities of the children's, and the mind and body integrations. Let's look at the pictures on my screen here. You see, as children, they have their blood and brain and let's say circulations are not really mature yet. So the way they handle heat are also different from us. If you could feel the heartbeat or hear a child breathing, you would feel that their respiratory rate is also faster than us because they have a higher respiratory rate. Yeah, so faster. Their lungs are still very small, and of course, they need to breathe in and breathe out with the air faster than we do. Skins of the children are very thin and soft and smooth. Yes, we want to have the children's skin. So the way they distribute heat are also different from us. And the portions of the bodies are also different from us. So the larger body surface comparing to the height is the result of how they store heat in their bodies. And of course, the most important area to consider is the immune systems of the kids. Therefore, in setting up your rooms and in giving their workouts or series of exercise, you should also consider all of this. Okay. Next, I want you to please remember these quotes, which is really, really nice. Each child is unique. Yes, all of them, all of the kids develop at different rates. And as a teacher, we should keep that in our mind. So, while most of these milestones typically take place during a certain window of times, of course, there will be one or two children that will be different from your class when you are putting them in groups together, or even though they have been studying in the same years for quite a period of time, but also every child is unique. So please remember to respect them and understand the individuals, the uniqueness of themselves, and to um, try to just remember these whole pictures of the different developmental stones according to each age group so that you know what are the things that you should consider giving them kind of assistance or advice, okay? And what are the things that it's okay to just not be too strict about them when they teaching them in a group and giving them chances or more time to learn and grow according to the same milestones or developments of their peers. Okay, so some of them might be delayed and some of them might be super progress. And it's very challenging to see both of a super progress kids or the heroes of the class and the youngest or the smallest or the tail of the class in the same yoga group. Okay. Developmental changes according to age group. I would like to group into these 4 different age groups categories. So first age group, we are going to talk about early childhood, which is the age between 2 to 6 years old. The middle childhood is probably about after 6, so there's a gap between 6 and 7. But then we considered 7 to 11 as the middle child age group or the middle childhood. Early adolescence is the age between 12 to 14, and adolescence is the age between 15 to 14 years old. By the way, you could also group your yoga class according to this age group as well, so that when you plan the class, it is easier for you to list out the exercise and kind of create the themes according to that age group. According to Piaget, Strategies of Cognitive Development, the first or the early year stages, they are still developing their sensory motor skills. So if you run a class like Mommy and Me class, it is really fun to implement some other tools and props in your class so that they get to experience the sensory motor skills. And it's also fun to use props as sensory activative props and it's helped them to stay focused when they have some props in their hand. And then after they are going to school, so many part of the world, kids going to school earlier. Now in my countries, by 18 months, many parents already start sending their kids to school, which is really, really early. So preschool age groups tends to be lower age group. It's not just 2, but it could be like 18 months or 1.5 for the preschoolers. However, after 2 years old and up to 7 years old, this is a very I would say the most magical periods of being a mother, because these periods of times a child grows very rapidly in terms of recognizing themselves or cognitive skills, as well as the physical development. Yes, during this stage is the pre-operational stage according to Piaget. So this pre-operational stage, the child will develop their memory skills and imagination skills. And it is so much fun to start implementing yoga during this age group because they would love to do what you do and they would be able to learn a lot of things through our yoga classes, right? You are giving them so many things to deal with and to help them with their development. So I would say that this age group is my most favorite age group when I teach yoga. So in this age group, they would start to understand what you say, and the fun part is they would love to discuss with you and talk back after you ask them some questions. Then from 7 to 11 years old, whoa, they are smart. They are thinker now. They start to use their brains a lot and they becomes what is called concrete operational state. In this concrete operational state, the child will become more aware of the external events, and so they are more patient and be able to sit for a longer period of time, as well as they start feeling for the others. So some of them might develop these peer pressures when they are in your yoga classes, and you can use that as the opportunities to kind of bringing the whole class together in a harmonious way. Okay, so they start feelings to feel egocentric or to start being understand about themselves, as well as they start to feel that not everyone sharing the same idea or the same thoughts or the same feelings as they do. So they start to feel the differences between humans and friends, and they start to feel that they are more concerned and be able to control themselves better than a younger age group. So in this age group, thoughts, feelings are still so thoughts and feelings is the untangible things in that head which you could encourage them to have a connections of their thoughts, of their minds. They start being to recognize that there is a difference between the physical body that they feel and they touch, and there is another body within themselves that they feel and they recognize their feelings patterns more. The last group or last stage is 12 years old above. So this stage is formal operational stage, means that they are fully aware of the outer world around them, and they are also be able to having this awareness within themselves too. Formal operational stage could start earlier, like from 10 and a half or 11, and it depends on the environment of the family as well. So child are able to use logical thinking, be able to solve problems, and they could will the world around them, and they are good at planning. So this age group, it would be nice for you to give them kind of structure format or ask them to help you create the format or structure of the class. Early childhood year from 2 to 6. So physically, the physical development of this age group, you can still see from these pictures here that the portion of their body is still not as same as our adult body. Yes. In these years, child would become stronger and start to look longer and leaner. And of course, they are walking very well. They can run, they can skip, they can jump, they can hop already. They can do a lot of movements and they are very, very mobile. So for their cognitive developments, they're still making great thinking and reasonings. They like to ask questions. They love to learn about new things. So it's a good chance to learn name of the pose along with the letters and to act out the letters or alphabet yogas. And they love to do counting. So we are using counting as a trick to ask them to stay focused. And of course, they love colors. emotionally and socially developments between this age group, they gradually learn how to manage their feeling. They still have these types of myself, and this is my stuff. So it's a good chance for them to start learning to socialize with their friends, especially when they are in a group of new friends. So yoga class is very helpful for the social development of this early childhood stage as well. Sensories and motor developments by this age, they would be able to do a lot of things, kicking a ball, jumping high, climbing, crawling, so and so. And most of them are already off their nappies, which means you don't have to worry about changing the diapers during your class. Middle childhood age, so from 7 onwards, most of the nations would families have this age group in the school already. So in my country here, it is required that parents have to send their kids to school, or if you are homeschooling, you have to tell the district that you are homeschooling by the age of 7. Otherwise, we are against the law of educational systems here. So during middle childhood age, children grow at an average of 2 inches and gain about 5 to 7 pounds each year. Yes, it's a chance for you to, you know, develop these balance skills and do lots of hopping and jumping because they want to grow fast. And it is good for you to also giving them the knowledge and encourage them why they need to move more, because during this age they are growing very, very fast. So if you put the child in the middle childhood age on a chair for the whole day long, it is really restrict the growth environments of their body. So it would be great to offer PE or yoga classes um, at least twice a week, I would say, in the schools. So here, this age, they gain already muscle mass and they start to develop their strength, and their coordination is very improved. So they can do lots of movements and they can control their body very well. During the middle childhood, children begin to base their self-esteem on the success at schools or with the outside world. So peer pressure is the thing for them. When you're doing a class, you might consider doing something that the whole group can follow. And they like to do coaching, they like to receive some advice that would help them grow or develop their skills more. Next age group is early adolescence age group, which is above 12 years old. So for this age group, we mostly call them puberty period. And puberty periods happens earlier for girls than boys. So usually girls will develop breasts and the pubic hair and start to have menstruate or having periods by the age of 12. However, there are majorities of girls that have periods before the age of 12 recently. I believe it is due to the change of the environments and the food that we eat. And yeah, people say that children growing faster than the later generation. So my next generation or my children are developing faster than myself during my generations. For boys, they experience the enlargement of the testicles and the penis and development of pubic and hairs in their bodies. They probably start to have mustache and the armpit hair, that you can tell that they look different. And some of them already have different sounds, different voice. Okay. So girls and boys experience a dramatic growth spurt during the puberty as their body transitions to become more adult. So socially, um, early adolescents would spend more time with their friends, and they still like to have their times alone with their friends. And parents probably should stay kind of um, behind the window glass. So during this age, they want to learn more about the things that's going on in the world, and they like to participate if their friends are doing that. So if you are doing the class for this age group, make sure to make it cool. Parent-child conflict is really common for this age group. So as well as a conflict with the kids and the teacher in the class. So it is also a good idea to become their friends, not their teachers, when you're dealing with this early adolescence age group. And here you go, the most, I would say, the most critical phase of the human development stage is the adolescents or the teenagers. So, from the age of 15 to 18, we are considered the endings of our childhood. We are not a child anymore, and most of them will stop calling themselves a child, or they don't want to be called a child since the early adolescence, maybe younger than 10, that they don't want to be called a child anymore. So it is times of change, and teenagers have think, feel, and interact with others, and they have developed this border growth, so they are becoming more close to the adults. Many of them already developed the maximum height, and they are a similar size as their parents already. So most girls will be physically mature by now, and most of them will already have completed puberty. So by the age of 15, most of the girls will already have periods. If they don't, then it might be a good advice to ask them to double check with the doctors to check whether the hormone systems are is in balance or not. So here, boys may still be mature physically, and during this time, the teenagers may also concern about their body size, their shapes, their weights, and also eating disorder. So they are concerned about how they look, and they are concerned whether they look cool enough. During this time, teens also develop their own unique personalities, and they have their own opinions and relationships with the friends. Of course, parents are also required to be their advisors, but they also don't like to be told what to do too much. So if you are dealing with this age group in your class, please consider making the yoga for fun and firm kind of, or the fitness for the physical development. So puberty, what changed during puberty is also the chemical in the brains. And some of the kids, or no, I won't say kids, sorry. So some of the children during puberty periods, they also having the problem with their brains because of this changing of the chemical in their brain. So some of them may be clumsy, some of them may want to sleep all day long. Um, it's a matter of times and the change of the hormone systems that results to the effects of the brain as well. And of course, it also affects how they feel and how they controlling themselves. and how they deal with the problems and stuff outside the world. So, for children with additional needs, they are likely to go through physical changes after puberty as well at the same time as the normal children. Some of children might have delayed physical development because of chronic health problems, which might cause a delay in one set of puberties. However, if you are dealing with additional needs children or additional needs children who are reaching towards this puberty period, also don't forget to consider that they already developed these feelings of becoming man and woman just like the other normal kids. Okay, so during the change of these puberty periods, you will also see physical change. Muscles are increased. They start having this adult-like muscle mass, and the bones are strong, and also they might gain some weight, and they will already have the beauty curve of the bodies. They might have changed the sleeping patterns. So now there were research about times that the teenagers should be sleeping. So in one of our schools here in Bangkok, they changing the times for the teenagers to start the school later because they have done some research and found out that these puberty periods they kind of needing more period of time to sleep because yeah they tend to go to sleep later. So the skins and their hair are changing, so the glands in their bodies is activating, the hormones is activating, and you will feel that they are look totally different from what they were look like when they were childhood. Portion of the body is one thing that you should keep in mind. So through these physical changes of the developmental stage, we can see that the portions of the bodies is slowly changed from the young childhood, early childhood to adolescence. During middle school years, your child or children you are working with, you probably feels like they are half of your body size. And then when they turn into primary school, high school, they start to becoming taller and taller. And at the end of the teenagers' years, or by the age of 15, most of them are already as high as you are. So these are the changes of the portions of the bodies. And next we will talk about human gait. So before we go to the details of human gait, let's pause this for a while. And your assignment for this part, for this lecture, is to try to grouping the child developmental stage as we have discussed into 4 different parts. And let's see and ask yourself which groups of the children that you feel comfortable working with and which group of the children that you would like to learn more about them. And see you next video.